Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour two, last hour of the week here on the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Trying to watch the game on Sunday. Got a bunch of folks coming over. Don't feel like dealing with the kitchen. Corks can help you. They love to cater. What would be better? Watching the Super Bowl with a big old tray of crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp. They got your honey butter rolls, shoestring fries. Get your crawfish etouffee, baked potatoes as well. All the sauces your heart can desire. It's an awesome opportunity to do some catering on Sunday. Call the folks at Corks today. Tell them you'll be by right before kickoff to grab all that food. They will have it ready for you on Sunday. They love to do it. Their own government between Foster and Jefferson. It'll be a hit if your Super Bowl party has got some food from the folks over at Corks. Check out the menu at corksfishandshrimp.com. All right, my position previews are continuing with LSU baseball. I've done a significant amount. Started with first base, went to second, third, and short. Did left field yesterday with Chris Stanfield. Now we move over to center field, where Stanfield occupied last year. He will not this year. That's where Derek Curiel will play. And look, I don't really get tired of talking about Derek Curiel and just how good a hitter that he is. I've mentioned this a number of times. Players develop at different speeds. I pay attention to this a little bit more closely than most people do or should. And I know how guys do in their first fall, and certainly everybody's aware of how folks do in their first and second seasons. But I can pick out names of guys that develop at different speeds. Matuk is one that I like to talk about because his first fall at LSU was terrible. And then by the time March, April rolled around of his freshman season, so just 4 months later, he was a starting outfielder on a national championship team, got a huge hit in Omaha. And he became SEC Player of the Year, but it took him 6 months to figure out college. Think about Andrew Stevenson, who came in. They told him to go play center field, but he couldn't hit at all. He hit a $150 as a freshman. I watched him try to hit Jonathan Gray in a super regional. He may as well have brought a broom up there. Like, he just no shot. And then he went off to Cape Cod and came back, and 12 months after he started college, he was ready to roll, and he hit in the high 350s as a sophomore. I think about Ty Floyd. He came in and was asked to pitch a little bit on Maneri's last team. And then on Jay's first team, he was okay. Like, they gave him the ball in the regional against Southern Miss, and he was fine. He did okay in his junior year early in the season, but he got hit around a little bit. He didn't become a star until right at the end of his junior year. Now, it came right on time. That's when we needed him to be a star. He set a record for strikeouts in the championship series. Perfect. But it took him 2.5 years to emerge as a star. Everybody comes along at different speeds. And look at guys that were ready right when they showed up. Alex Lang was ready to go. Alex Bregman was ready to go. Dylan Cruz was ready to go. And Derek Curiel was ready to go. He was the leading hitter for LSU in his first fall with the program, and he showed up in his freshman season, and LSU played 68 games. He played in all 68. He hit .345. That led the team. In the NCAA tournament, LSU played 11 games. He hit .390. That led the team. In the Super Regional, LSU played 2 games. He hit .571. He led the team. Right now, he's the best bat-to-ball hitter in college baseball. And he probably was the day he enrolled in his first class at LSU. That's the kind of talent you're talking about with Derek Curiel. So he'll move over to center field. He's added about 15 pounds. He'll look a little bit different if you haven't seen him since they put the oversized T-shirts on at Charles Schwab last June as champs. But you'll recognize him because he'll have that quick, smooth, flat stroke right through the zone. He's got an incredible eye for the strike zone. He draws walks at just a remarkable pace. He hits line drives, falling out of bed. And the thing that I really took note of as I went back to write my preview about Curiel for LouisianaSports.net is all the moments that he provided LSU last year. Like, you remember Jared Jones hitting the walk-off at 1:17 a.m., right? But LSU doesn't even get to the Jared Jones at bat if Curiel doesn't pull a single through the right side with 2 outs, trailing. But he did. He came through and got the hit. In the College World Series, I was on the call for the first game against Arkansas. And Anderson was dealing, and LSU was in control, but it was still tight. And in the 9th inning, Arkansas went to its ace left-handed reliever, Cole Gibler. Runner on second base, nobody from the left side had hit Gibler. I had, in the press box at Charles Schwab, they've got all these advanced stats. And I had Gibler's stats against left-handers. It was like nothing. Nobody from the left side was hitting this guy. Curiel, bang. 2 out, 2 strike, RBI single to the opposite field. Added a run to LSU's lead, 4-1. LSU would nail it down. How about a couple days later when you're trying to win the bracket against Arkansas, the game that went crazy in the last inning, right? Well, LSU was down 5-3 in that game. The ball trickled by Jarrett Jones, and LSU was down 2 runs. And you needed base runners. And with 1 out and nobody on, Curiel reached base with a single. Infield single, but a single. And then you had Fry, Milam, Hernandez clubs it to left field, and Jones walks it off with a line drive. But it started with Curiel. And then the title series. You remember game 1. What do you remember about game 1 of the title series? That Cade Anderson threw a complete game shutout. The final score was 1-0. Derek Curiel scored the 1 run. Game 2, trying to win a national championship. LSU is up 3-1 in that game. And Curiel comes up, 2 out, 2 on, smokes an RBI single. LSU goes up 5-1 from 3-1, final score 5-3. That's the difference in the game. Time and time and time again. The biggest series that LSU played. Home series against Tennessee. Regional, super regional, College World Series, CWS opener, bracket championship game, College World Series final. No matter what you're looking at, biggest moments of the year, this guy, true freshman, right in the middle of all of it. Now, the question is not whether or not he can replicate it, because that's how he's been a superstar since he was in 7th grade. Team USA, top player in California, projected draft pick. This has been him forever. And he's going to show up, and he's going to hit leadoff on Friday, and he's going to hit a bunch of line drives. He's going to hit 350 plus. He's going to get on base at about a 450 clip. It was 470 last year. If you went over 500 this year, I wouldn't be flat stunned, even though that's really hard to do. That's cruise level stuff. But he's going to do all that. Like last year, he had 12 more walks than second best on the team. He had 5 more doubles than second best on the team in SEC play. He's going to do all that. But does he add power to his game? Does the 15 to 20 pounds he put on translate to 5 or 6 more home runs? He hit 7 last year. Does he get to 15, or is it closer to 5? If it's closer to 5, he's probably like the 12th pick in the draft. If it's closer to 15 or 18, which I really don't see 18, but 12 to 15, if that happens, you're talking about the 3rd pick in the draft. The thing about Curiel with the power is that some folks, when they're trying to add power to their game, they have to cheat. Because they have to cheat to get out in front of the baseball, to lift it and pull it out of the ballpark. They don't have the strength to sit back and drive it the other way, which is the better way to hit. It's how Tommy White hit home runs, how Dylan Cruz hit a lot of home runs. It's how Jared Jones hit almost most of his home runs. Sit back, wait, be strong enough to drive it out. Well, Curiel, last year, homer to the opposite field against Texas on the road. Homer to the opposite field in a midweek game against Southeastern. Homer to the opposite field in the Super Regional against West Virginia. As a skinny freshman who only hit 7 homers, he hit almost half of them to the opposite field. So he doesn't have to cheat. He doesn't have to compromise the quality of his swings, the quality of his at-bats, the quality of his approach to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Now, if you hang one, he can pull it out of the yard, but he can still sit back, watch the ball travel, and drive it off the back foot to the alley in left center field or out of the ballpark to left field. That's why I think more power is coming, and that's why I think he'll be a top 10 pick, because I think the power will eventually show up. He's not going to hit 35 in the big leagues, but he can hit 19. And I think in hopefully 65 games this coming season, I think he can hit 12 or 13. And that's a big, big key to LSU's offense. The home run's important. LSU's not going to have a quote-unquote slugger in this lineup. Like, Jared Jones is a slugger. Tommy White is a slugger. Gavin Dugas was a slugger. They've had those in the past. This is not that lineup, because I wouldn't call Jake Brown a slugger. I wouldn't call Stephen Milam a slugger, Derek Carroll a slugger. I'm not calling Zach York a slugger. Trent Carraway could be. That's a possibility. But you've got a lot of guys that have like 9 to 14 home run power. I don't see 20 anywhere. But the home run's important, and if Curriel can add to his total, that's a big deal. He's in a crazy talent. And as I wrote on LouisianaSports.net earlier this morning, when the Jay Johnson era is over, whenever that is, I don't know when it'll be, whenever it is, Curriel will be a defining player in that era. In the way that Aaron Nola and Bregman were for Mainieri, in the way that LeMahieu and Matuk were for Mainieri, in the way that Lang and Poche were for Mainieri. Curriel will be a defining player in the Johnson era. If you go back to Skip, you think about Cressy, and you think about Larson, you think about McDonald, you think about those guys. Curriel is going to be one of those guys in the Jay Johnson era when it's all said and done. It's his last year. He's only going to play 2 years here. But when you get to the box on Friday, or you tune in from work on Friday, or you watch from home on Friday, Curriel will be the first guy up. And I got a hunch he'll get a base hit first at bat of the season. And it won't be his last. He's going to be a star this year. He was a star when he showed up. And excited to watch him move forward in his second and what will be his final season here at LSU. So that's a look at Centerfield for LSU, Derek Curriel. Not really a backup plan there at Centerfield. Stanfield can go up there if he needs to, but let's just keep 6 over there. All right, we got a lot more to do here over the next 45 minutes of the show, our final 45 minutes of the week. Got to talk about the Super Bowl as well as LSU and Georgia tomorrow in hoops. Stick with us on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. Awesome time to go play some golf inside. It's such a cool experience. If you haven't played on a simulator, just go try it. I love it. Of course, I love being out there in the elements. I love being out there with the grass. I love being out there knocking the ball in the hole and everything that goes involved in playing golf. I love it. It's one of my favorite hobbies. But the simulator's a different vibe. You hang out, crank some tunes, you play famous golf courses. You know, they give out that jacket every spring. You can play that golf course. See how you handle those famous holes on the back nine. You can do that. Tee it up, hit a driver. It shows what your carry distance is, where the ball ends up. You get a yardage for your next shot. Stripe an iron up there. You chip, you putt, you card a score. You can do that with your friends over at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. They'll deliver you a bucket of beers back there. Crank the tunes. You put the TV on. You can watch the Super Bowl from there on Sunday. It's a cool, cool spot. If you haven't done it, check it out. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Check them out online. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
I'll give you my Super Bowl pick coming up in the next segment. I kind of gave it away with my bets at the end of hour number 1, but we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. It is, the biggest football game of the year. This is our last Football Friday, I guess, for a significant amount of time. But I'm looking forward to watching the game on Sunday, and I haven't quite decided what I'm cooking yet. I think I'm going with a little seafood queso dip.
Okay.
That's what we're thinking about.
Okay, so we had a debate the other day about, like, I can say the perfect Super Bowl size, but where do you stand on wings for a Super Bowl? Like, do you feel like that is a side or a main dish?
I think wings are a shareable in a setting like that.
Okay.
A restaurant or a living room. I think if you're a single dude who's just sitting there watching the game and want to just eat 30 wings, that's a meal too. But it's perfectly acceptable to have shareable wings, I think.
I agree with you. Taylor does not. He thinks
What does
wings.
he think?
Oh, he thought wings was like, it doesn't count. He said, you don't go to a restaurant and look at the menu, you don't see a main course of wings. I was like, okay, well, technically you're right, yes.
I gave kind of a ridiculous answer to Marler on that.
Oh,
Did you see mine?
What was your answer? No, I haven't seen it. I'm scared to go look.
Mine's last. He put you in it like 4 times because you gave like a million answers.
Well, yeah, because
he kept coming back to you, kept coming back to you,
we
kept
had a
coming
whole
back to you.
debate out there about the chicken wings things. Like, oh, no, but chicken wings are not a Super Bowl.
I gave him bone-in ribeye, medium rare.
Oh, my
medium
God.
rare.
Are you kidding me? Bone-in ribeye
I'm
for the
just
Super
trying
Bowl?
for the entertainment value here. All right, it was not. I knew that was not a side or a snack.
Okay,
But everyone said dip. I was trying to be a little different.
Exactly, but I can't say.
And I think I am having a Sagrera ribeye on Sunday after the seafood queso dip. So we'll see. But before we get to the Super Bowl and the pick coming up in our next segment, I'm not going to try to sell you on LSU basketball making a run here. Y'all realize that, right? I told you must win 2 weeks ago. They lost. I'm done with that. So I'm not selling you a fake bill of goods here. I will tell you, if you want to be entertained, there's a reasonable chance tomorrow's LSU Georgia game is going to be entertaining. Why do I say that? Well, LSU right now, let me get the up-to-date stat and make sure that I'm right here. LSU, in terms of shooting percentage nationally, is 21st. I think we can agree that LSU is a functional offensive team. They're better with DJ Thomas, clearly. They didn't have him in the last game against South Carolina, and they went up and down the floor and shot better than 55%. And they were scoring at will. McKinnon can get to the rim, shoot the three. They're good on offense. And Georgia is terrible on defense. They've lost 3 straight games. Here are the losses. They lost to Texas and gave up 87 points, 87-67. They lost to Tennessee at home, 86-85. And they lost to A&M 92-77. They also, earlier this season, gave up 97 to Ole Miss, 92 to Florida, and 100 to Auburn. They actually won the game against Auburn and gave up 100 points. They are 252nd in the nation in points per game allowed. 252nd in the country. And LSU's pretty good on offense. So it stands to reason LSU will score some points on Saturday night in the PMAC at 5 o'clock. Now, here's the flip side. You have heard me many, many times say this LSU defense stinks. Absolutely stinks. And, oh, by the way, pulling up the up-to-date stats, if you look at points per game nationally, Georgia is number 1, the top scoring offense in college basketball. The Georgia Bulldogs, 92.3 points per game. Buckle up. It's going to be up and down. There's going to be points flying. I hate LSU's defense. I think Georgia's defense stinks. Georgia's lost 3 games in a row. But if you want to see up and down, you can go see up and down in the PMAC tomorrow at 5 o'clock. It's not going to be Shaq and the folks from Loyola Marymount. You're not going to get that. But it's going to be up and down. I think, personally, this matchup is terrible for LSU. I think it's terrible. I thought they would win at South Carolina. They did in overtime against the worst team in the league. This is at home. It's against a team that's reeling a little bit. Mike White's team is struggling to win games right now. Lost 3 in a row, 2 of them at home. But the selling point I have for this, I'm not going to go into a Georgia scouting report. I'm not going to tell you what LSU needs to do without DJ Thomas. I'm not going to tell you that if LSU can win this game on Saturday, like next week, just look at this Arkansas game at home. No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to watch every dribble tomorrow. I'm going to write a story for it, LouisianaSports.net on it, and I hope they win. I'll be pulling for them. I'll probably be nervous in the second half if they're in the game. That's just the way I'm wired. I would not, under any circumstance, tell you should share that emotion. But I am going to tell you, just looking at this game from a analytic-driven perspective, Georgia should score 90 points and LSU should score 85 plus. You never know. Some days the shots aren't falling. But this, if you're just looking for pure entertainment value, at a pretty decent tip time, 5 o'clock on Saturday, that's not going to ruin the middle of your day. You could go out to eat afterward. It's not going to be nuts. You know there's not going to be a ton of traffic in Baton Rouge for basketball. So if you're looking for something to do, it should be pretty entertaining. Look, I've watched plenty of games in the PMAC that have not been entertaining. I've seen plenty of teams grind it out, throw it in the post, can't shoot. And it's possible that LSU has one of those days. Like if you have a McKinnon day where he goes 1 of 9 from 3, well, LSU's not going to score a lot of points. Not without Thomas. But if they play like they did last week, like Georgia's not better than South Carolina defensively. They're way better offensively. And they're going to score a ton of points on LSU. But this should be one that's back and forth. I don't know what the number is on the game. I haven't seen. I guess I can try to look that up. I don't know if they have it published on a Friday afternoon just yet. But I would guess the over-under on this game is north of 170 would be my guess, because that's just what Georgia does. It's the Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors of college basketball with that defense. That's what Georgia and LSU are. I'm pulling it up. I do not see a number published on the site that I always look at. I'm sure I could find it in the next 35 minutes if I wanted to.
Looking for a line?
Yeah,
for the game?
LSU, Georgia.
1.5 LSU.
Bruh, what?
1.5.
That is such an offense to Georgia. With no DJ Thomas.
1.5 at home.
And maybe he plays. I don't anticipate he'll play. We'll get an availability report tonight. But like, he missed 3 weeks with this injury and re-aggravated it last week just because they had a week off. I don't anticipate he'll be back. But still, that's Georgia being. I would have thought I'd have had Georgia minus 4.5. The way they score. The way LSU defends, which is none. Georgia scored 90 plus in this game for sure.
So you know what that means, Hunt? This is definitely a trap game. This is
Do you have an over-under on it?
Over-under, I have a total points like over 163.5.
Fade Hunt to gain wealth at all times, but the over is the play there. Georgia is scoring 90. Georgia's going to score 50.5. We already know this. Everyone scores 50.5 on LSU. Everyone. Georgia leads the nation in points per game. You don't think they're going to score 50.5? That is way light on the total. Way light. So I'm passionate about that. If you want to take it and fade, get rich. But that point total was low for me. So LSU and Georgia, 5 o'clock. If you would like to listen, you can on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, Chris Blair. And John Brady on the call coming up at 4:30 on Eagle. So it'll be Tigers and Dogs, Mike White and company, trying to right the ship. LSU trying to claw back into it. I'm not falling for that. We'll see. I hope they prove me dead wrong. And I'll be watching. I'll have a story up on .net tomorrow after it goes final. All right, we got 2 more segments to go. Let's pick the Super Bowl, shall we? We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. Captives are a big deal. It's the future of insurance, and in many ways is the present of insurance. If your broker has not presented with you a captive option, you may need to look elsewhere. Now, some brokers don't have the capability or the access to captives. Highland Insurance Group does. They're an independent broker. They deal with captives each and every day. If you pay a sizable amount in premium, if you have good loss history, if your risk management is good, and you're a good risk, you may fit into a captive, and that can be a game changer for your insurance program. You join into a group, everybody puts their premiums together, you pay losses out of it, and at the end, you can redistribute things. It's a different way to handle insurance as opposed to just ripping premium checks month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year. So let Jonathan Carver and his team come talk to you about captives if you have not heard about them yet. You might have your eyes open to something brand new when it comes to insurance. It's the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online. Check them out here in Baton Rouge. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp, delicious crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, shoestring fries. They got it all for you there. Including the hush puppies. I love a good hush puppy. And the Cork sauce over at Corks, perfect with the fish and the shrimp. Size of these shrimp, y'all, are incredible. Get on by and see them. Government between Foster and Jefferson. Like, I'll briefly talk about the breakdown of the game, but I thought a different way to kind of approach the Super Bowl breakdown, and I'm only going to do 12 minutes on it like the entire week, basically. I talked about Will Campbell earlier this week and gave a betting segment, but this is the only time I'm going to talk about the actual game. And I decided to break it down into the three, and I use air quotes lightly here because of one of these, the three people with the most on the line on Sunday. And I'll start at the bottom with number 3 and work up to number 1. Number 3, and the reason I used air quotes, I think it's McDonald and Vrabel. Both of them are on level playing field. They're young coaches. They're defensive guys. They've taken over proud franchises who had fallen back a little bit because the coaches that preceded them had slipped. And they've revitalized the organizations. And I think for them to be Super Bowl champion coaches obviously is a big, big deal. And I think that they are equal in that way. So a huge, huge Sunday for those two. That goes without saying. I think number 2 here is maybe a little bit off the beaten path. I think this is a huge Sunday for Robert Kraft. In the way that Brady cemented himself leaving the nest and winning in Tampa, in the way that Belichick hasn't, because Belichick, quote unquote, failed in Cleveland and left and then succeeded so highly in, not to diminish Belichick's entire resume, not at all. He's maybe the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, and I don't diminish that because he's not winning a lot of games at North Carolina. I don't care. Nor do I care about his girlfriend or fiance or whatever she is. But to do it without the group that did it together, I think is impactful. And for Kraft to make the decision to move on from Belichick, and to make the decision to move on from the bad hire that he made, and to go get the right guy, and then to get right back into the Super Bowl, that's impressive from an organizational perspective. And owners sometimes are more prevalent than others. You notice some more than others, and Kraft is certainly one of the ones you notice. But for the Patriots to get right back to the Super Bowl almost immediately after Brady and Belichick left and their DNA was gone from the organization, I think is a big deal. So I think for him, he's number 2. And then I can't get behind, I can't move on from number 1. The guy who has the most on the line on Sunday is Sam Darnold. I sat in this very chair. Nope, I shouldn't say that. I was actually across the desk, I think, that day. I was 3.5 feet away. But I hosted Hanging with Hester the day after LSU beat Clemson in the national championship game. And it was a crazy day where we all woke up in New Orleans and we're trying to get back to Baton Rouge to handle radio shows. And the traffic, as you would imagine, was a complete nightmare. And like Jake couldn't get back to do his show. He showed up an hour into it. And I was late and I had to call Cade from I-10 and be like, hey, I'm not going to make it. I don't remember when Jake's show was. I don't know if it was 1 to 3 or I don't remember when. I think it was 1 to 3. I was like, I'm not going to make it. And so we had Jimmy, who was doing, I think, Sports Today at the time. Jimmy continued until I got to sit down. But I did the show the next day after LSU beat Clemson. And I remember, because I've gone back and watched that before just to kind of see what my reaction was the next day. And I did it with no real notes because I didn't have time to prep because I was on the road, stopped. So I just kind of went for an hour. And one of the segments I did was about Burrow and how Burrow in college at LSU was already better than some of the starting NFL quarterbacks. That he would have gone into their organization that day and been better. And if they had come down to play with that LSU team, that LSU would have been worse. And I didn't have prep done. I didn't have any notes. And I kind of went through and I was like, he's better than some of the quarterbacks playing in the NFL. And one of the names that came right off my tongue was Darnold. Jets. Failure. Top 5 pick. Disaster. And, like, not to suggest that Sam Darnold is trying to impress me or that he needs to validate himself to me, but that's just the way that I looked at him in the NFL 2019. We're 6 years later, being that was 2020 in January when I made that comment, and now it's February of 2026. But, like, he was a joke at that point. And then he goes to Minnesota and throws for a lot of yards. And they were kind of like, okay, well, yeah, but we're going to draft one. We'll go with McCarthy. Okay. And he goes to Seattle. Now he can cement himself as a great player. I think most people looking at these two quarterbacks would take Drake May in this game. I think most people will take Seattle to win the game straight up. But Darnold can reach a level that's rarefied air. Like, say what you will about Trent Dilfer. Say what you will about Brad Johnson. Are those the guys that are probably the bottom of the rung in terms of Super Bowl quarterbacks? Probably. And they had unbelievable defenses. Those Ravens were incredible. Those Bucks were unbelievable. And this Seahawks defense maybe enters that breath because of this. I don't know how you feel about Jim McMahon as a quarterback and how the 85 Bears propped him up a little bit, but he reaches rarefied air. There's nobody, in my estimation, who Sunday means more to in terms of legacy, career, status, all that, than Sam Darnold. So for me, it's the coaches, it's McDonald, it's Vrabel, it's Kraft running that ship in Foxborough and getting it back up and running to this speed that quickly after those two legends of the game left. And then you got Sam Darnold, who's got a chance to prove a lot of people, me very much included, dead wrong. You got an agreement or disagreement with any of that, Jordan, before I pick this game and tell you what I think is going to happen?
I don't necessarily have that because it's the Super Bowl, and at the end of the day, you could really just flip a coin and be like, this team going to show up, this team going to show up. Nobody thought that the first play, think about the Seahawks. Nobody thought the Peyton Manning one, the first play was a safety.
Yeah.
So it's like we can sit here and do all this, and you can go out there and the first play is a safety, and then just the floodgates open up. So that's why I'm just like, I could see a world where Sam Darnold changes. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think the Patriots were the team he saw the ghost or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
So seeing ghosts out there.
So he can have, rewrite a story. I can see that, and I can also see it in a world where the Patriots really are the evil empire, and they're just going to keep doing it. So that's I can't disagree because it's like I see both sides.
It takes elite quarterback play to hang in with Seattle. Yeah. Now Stafford did it.
He's elite.
He's elite. He's the MVP of the league. And some others have done it, but they've swallowed some others whole. And I think if given representative protection and skill players, Drake May could hold his own as a player. I don't know if he has that. And that's why on Tuesday, I gave you 10 minutes on how important this is for Will Campbell. And I told you that I don't know Will Campbell personally, but I've spoken with him on a number of occasions. And I've heard him talk on a number of occasions, and I've watched him play on a lot of occasions. He will not be scared. He will not be intimidated. The question is, as a rookie in the National Football League in the Super Bowl against the best defense in the league, is he good enough today to hold his own? And I think that question is very legitimate. And there is a world where he can't hold up, and that Patriots offensive line can't hold up. And we have seen Super Bowls decided by pass rush. The Giants against Brady, Holmes down in Tampa against the Bucks could not function because they were all over him. And if that's the case with May, you may think he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now, or may have played the best football in the NFL this year, even better than Stafford. There are people that think that, and there's data-driven research that would suggest that. But if he's not protected, it doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. You cannot play with a cloudy pocket and on your back. You cannot play from 2nd and 14. You cannot play when they're blitzing you on 3rd and 11. Like, you just can't win that way. So I think there are a lot of interesting storylines. I think this is a good Super Bowl matchup. I've heard some people say they're not anticipating it very much. I am. I think it's going to be really good. But I said that last year, and everybody was sick of those two teams, and I wasn't. The game wasn't any good, but I was excited to watch it, and I'm excited to watch it on Sunday. But I think the Seattle defense is too good. And I don't know if Will Campbell can hold up. And I think May will be under too much pressure. And I don't think the Patriots are going to score a lot. And so eventually the dam's going to break. And I think eventually Seattle will prevail. I think Seattle prevails by 2 scores. I don't know if it's 14, if it's 9, if it's 10, if it's 11, but I think they win by 2 scores. I don't anticipate the Patriots having the ball with a chance to win it, but I certainly hope that's the case. I got it. I haven't actually thought about this, but now I'll kind of put it down. I've got it 27-17. That's kind of where I am. I think Seattle wins it with that defense that's just too good.
Yeah, I'm not a real big score guy, so I can't do the scores, but I definitely believe that the Seahawks will get the W. It's just the Patriots, they're in a situation where they're just going to have to show me. Like Drake May, I didn't really was that big of a believer throughout the season, even though he was my fantasy quarterback, so I kind of was riding his coattail a little bit. Yeah, I was riding the Drake May wave for a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like the Patriots have so many answers still that they haven't answered. Like they haven't. There's so much I still don't know about them. Even though you play who you play, but the Will Campbell aspect, how is that pass rush going to hold up? I mean, it's so much that goes into that. I think the Patriots defense is a lot better than people give them credit for. But the Seahawks snap like that, they can score. Yeah. Snap like that, they'll score again. Snap, Rashid Shaheed, 99-yard punt, kickoff return. So I think for the Patriots, the only way they can win this game, it has to be ugly. You have to stay in the game. Do not let the Seahawks get these explosive plays, and that's the only way. It's going to be, like you said, the fourth quarter come down, even though you're the flip side of that. But the fourth quarter is going to have to come down, and they have to be in the game. If they're not, it's just Seattle's just too much. They're wagging.
Yep, they're real good. There's no question about that. I saw an interesting thing, speaking of Will Campbell. LSU football put an Instagram story out earlier today, and they put a big jar of blue marbles, and then they had 2 empty jars. One had a Seahawks logo on it, one had a Patriots logo, and you drop by, you put one marble in the bucket you think's going to win.
Good content.
And one of the Borderline brothers, I don't know which one it was, who obviously played with Will Campbell, picked up the big jar of marbles and just poured them all in the Patriots thing. So
respect.
He's riding with this guy. I believe it. We'll see. Super Bowl kickoff on Sunday. We'll have a whole Otterlocks page for all your bets coming up on LouisianaSports.net. So looking forward to that. Speaking of Super Bowl, Matt will drive you home from San Francisco coming up in 15 minutes from Radio Row. We got to close things out. Let's do so next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Get that Boudreaux's boost. Well, what's the Boudreaux's boost? Well, if you've bought a Generac home standby generator and you didn't buy it from Boudreaux's, but you're not thrilled with the service, well, you can get Boudreaux's to take over that services. You need your generator to be up and running. And Boudreaux's Electrical Services can monitor that Generac home standby generator at all times. So they'll know if it's up and running and it's functional, if it's ready to spring into action when you need it, because you never really know when you're going to need it. The customer service is the difference with Boudreaux's Electrical. Neil and Melissa have been running this shop for more than 40 years. They're born and raised in Louisiana, and they're here to help the people of Louisiana with those home standby generators. So give them a call. The original location, 985-397-1562. Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. Check them out online, boudreauxelectrical.com. Get that generator installed today if you don't have one. Just give yourself the peace of mind that the power's not going to go out on you. What you would hate to have happen is trying to watch the Super Bowl, storm blows through, which is not supposed to happen on Sunday, incidentally. But if it were, and you lose power, can't have it. Have that generator spring to life and power your home. From the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. You can find them online at boudreauxelectrical.com, boudreauxelectrical.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Reading a review from Beth on onebathandclosets.com. So we had our old garden tub and walk-in shower removed. It was replaced with a big double shower and beautiful built-in cabinets where our old walk-in shower was. It was completed in 5 days, start to finish. They did an amazing and wonderful job. Highly recommend One Bath and Closets. Another review from Creighton says David and his team did a fantastic job with his and hers closets, have a unique footprint. They figured out that we're very pleased with the result. If you need the most out of your closet space, David is the one to call. There are tons of 5-star reviews on onebathandclosets.com. And you can just click the button that says, I'm ready for a bathroom transformation right there. And you can sign up for the free in-home consultation. If you're looking for a new bathroom or a new closet customized exactly the way that you're looking for, and you want somebody to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind, how about David Vaughn and One Bath and Closets? You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com. All right, we're about done here on this Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Corks brings you our Friday shows. Check out that menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Always, always, always invite you to check out their catering options, and maybe no better weekend than this weekend with football coming at you on Sunday. If you're having some folks over at the house, want to keep the kitchen relatively clean and just get some delicious food, how about that fried catfish? How about those jumbo Gulf shrimp, shoestring fries? Everybody's happy, and you can watch the game and throw it all out when you're done. It's corksfishandshrimp.com. It's the website. They bring you our Friday shows each and every week. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so this one's going to be a little wacky, especially if we're going to talk about the NBA. So veteran guard Mike Conley Jr. is reportedly expected to end back up with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And if you don't know, he was traded from the Timberwolves to the Charlotte Hornets on Tuesday. So then he was traded from the Hornets on Tuesday. Then he was traded from the Hornets to the Bulls and then released. So Mike Conley, bless you. So Mike Conley, listen.
I was muted.
Yeah, I was muted. Right. I didn't know. That was a good sneeze. Mm-hmm. So basically, look, Mike Conley was traded again, released. Now he's back with the team that traded him on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Exactly.
I don't understand the NBA. Everybody's traded all the time. Everybody's trading 50 draft picks at a time.
Or protections.
I can't figure the NBA out. It's a circus. I feel like when I was a young buck watching the NBA, like I kind of knew this guy plays for that team, this guy plays for that team.
Yeah.
Now you play for 3 teams, including one twice in 1 week. I don't know. Whatever.
No, that's basically the NBA summed up right now. So in the 2018 NFL draft, you remember that was Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Lamar Jackson. Those are the quarterbacks selected.
The Rosen one. Is he still in the league? Can't be.
No, he's an insurance salesman. No, it's not even a joke. Like, he's actually an insurance salesman.
Excellent.
So it's now we're looking at Sam Darnold as being the only quarterback to reach a Super Bowl and has the opportunity to actually win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So are we going to be looking back? Is this the Sam Darnold draft? Take it or leave it. Ooh.
I mean, no. It's going to be the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson draft, but Darnold, they have more jewelry than both of them. So that's
We'll take a little bit. We'll take a little bit of both. So okay, listen to this one. So the Cleveland Browns, we already knew they hired Todd Monken as the new head coach.
Yep.
And Jim Schwartz wanted the job. Well, today he's put his papers in to resign from the defensive coordinator's position. So the Browns running a good organization at this point. I mean, what's going on over there?
Well, I will leave that. I mean, we'll leave that for sure. But I'm not gonna freak out because they didn't hire the guy that with the they got to run the organization, do what they think is best. It's not like the Luka trade where you had the best thing and you ditched it. Like, they're trying to figure things out, and like Jim Schwartz was part of the franchise that wasn't any good. Now, it's not his fault they stink on offense, but look, I'm not going to let a defensive coordinator hold me hostage.
That is a good way to look at it.
Yep.
I'm about to say, because again, it's the Browns. They still have a good defense. You can just get somebody else to come in there and.
You know what I could
Myles
do?
Garrett.
Hey, Miles, go sack the quarterback.
I'm about to say, right? It ain't really much.
I don't mean to denigrate. He's got a great defense. That was very unfair, but still, having Myles Garrett helps your defense.
Oh yeah,
This just in.
A guy can get 23 sacks. I think that helps the defense out a lot. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right. That's it for Take It or Leave It. That's it for us on a Friday. Baseball fans, I've got preseason position previews up at LouisianaSports.net for free. Musso and I cut a season preview today. It'll be up on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube stream on Monday morning, so you can check that out. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. We talked some LSU football with Preston Guy. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. Also heard from Lane Kiffin a little bit earlier. Played some of that sound as well. Talked a little Saints with Drew Brees at the top of the show. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Matt's got 3 more hours to go from Radio Row in San Francisco. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Have a safe and beautiful South Louisiana weekend. We'll see you Monday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com is that website. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. What a great afternoon. What a great day tomorrow to get out there and walk the lot in St. Francisville at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They've got amazing deals on their trucks this month. February, trucks. Looking to get into a Chevy Silverado up to $11,000 off MSRP or 1.9% APR financing. Looking at a Sierra on the GMC side, up to $13,000 off of MSRP or 0.0% APR financing. You can also find the Chevy Tahoes. You can get into the Yukon or Denali on the GMC side. Go by and see them on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You know what you're going to get with the Fabry family. Incredible customer service and a loaded inventory at Fabry Chevrolet. Check them out online at FabryChevrolet.com.